Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
The disastrous week about to start. I noticed you went with neutral gang colors today.
That's right. Kyle's back. Kyle's back at some point here. He's back this week. Sometime, I think.
Yeah, I won't be.
You won't be here, though.
I have to say, I mean, that shirt does fit all. I mean, like every university in the country.
That's right. Basic color, basic shirt.
You had a big moment today before we get to sports, a huge moment today. You were asked, of all people in the station, to do a Metallica commercial.
Oh, I didn't do the actual promo, but I heard the promo. It was phenomenal.
Are they a band or?
They are a band. They're a pretty good band. Pretty well-known band. Do a great job in concert.
When's their next concert?
23rd and 25th of this month.
And where is it?
In Philadelphia, Lincoln Financial Field. They played in Nashville over the weekend.
Now, if I remember WrestleMania,
yeah,
you were in the upper deck in the end.
Very upper deck. Yeah, that will not be the case for this concert.
Really?
No, Metallica, I usually get first crack at that ticket, so I usually end up getting the lower levels. I don't do the floor anymore. I'm too old for the floor.
Yeah.
I was younger. I did the floor every time I had the chance, but I can't do the floor.
Pit?
Yeah. I had a few of those. Well, they now have, years ago when you were in the Metallica Club, first of all, it was a paid membership at that time. Now it isn't. But when it was, you got first crack, and you typically got, if you were on quick enough, you got floor seats, so I was extremely close to the stage. Nowadays, they've marketed it a lot more. They have the actual floor, and then they have a thing called the Snake Pit, which is what was basically their tour during the Black Album, their biggest, where Enter Sandman's on. So now they have the Snake Pit that circles this way. You have to enter via lottery to get into that, and then you have the floor right behind them. I never enter the lottery because I just can't. I've been that close before. I don't need to be again. It is certainly an adventure when you are very close at a Metallica show.
Okay, so
it's better now than it used to be.
The 83rd Metallica show you've seen.
Not quite that many, but I've seen them plenty of times.
Okay. So, of the 83, have they ever changed songs?
Yes. Yeah, obviously the main ones are still the same, but they try to throw...
Same thing over. Yeah. Why just call it up on YouTube?
Well, I do that. I do it after the show. Well, there was one time where the Metallica fan cam caught me singing one of the songs and letting out a word that I shouldn't have let out.
Oh, God, this is who I was.
I was not. First of all, I've been on the fan cam several times. There's my defense. There's my defense. But yeah, this time. Yeah, obviously during Creeping Death, James Hetfield, the lead singer, used to say...
During Creeping Death?
Yes. He used to drop certain expletives. And I dropped the expletives with him. And, I was needless to say, you hear my voice. And my brother made fun of it he still makes, I think to this day, puts it on a Facebook memory and makes fun of it to this day. That says, backup vocals, my brother, and you hear me. Singing the song and then dropping the nasty word that is not permitted on the airwaves of radio.
At some point.
Starts with the letter F.
At some point, you're going to have to send me that video. At some point.
I will have to look for it. I know my brother has it.
You'll have to look for it. You got it on your wall, probably.
No, not on my wall. I don't. Getting fist bumped by James Hetfield was my favorite memory at a Metallica concert.
You think you were somebody else? Or?
He might have. He probably did. Once he realized who I was, forget about it. Never again.
The big-time sportscaster. Really?
All the times I've been close, I've only gotten one guitar pick. All the times I've been close, I have only gotten one pick, which is yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, I did get the guitar pick, and a former employee of the radio station. I don't know if she's worked for Seven Mountains. Worked for my former boss at the time. Yeah, she also got a guitar pick that day. We did not get one, and then many times we've seen Metallica. Both that day got one at the State College shows.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah, I have way too much Metallica stuff. That's the obvious.
Nobody could tell.
No, nobody could tell.
You know, because they said to me, "Is there any way that you can draw Jason's personality out?" I said, "Sure, we can mention the band."
They drew my personality up just a bit too much when I was younger.
Really?
Well, yeah, we behaved ourselves every time we were there, but obviously they were the excuse. I think the statute of limitations is long out now, and they did their free concert. That was actually, ironically enough, Monday Night Football, November 10th. Eagles played the 49ers at the Vet. Pretty much camped in Philadelphia that night. Tuesday the 11th, Veterans Day, they played their free concert in the Wells Fargo Center, well, now the Wells Fargo Center parking lot. And that was a great memory, obviously. You know, we skipped school to go. I can officially say that now. I think we're okay at this point now. I was a sophomore in high school, and I skipped school at the time and to go. In my defense, my teachers pretty much knew because every Metallica fan did not attend.
Your teachers actually were at the concert with you.
They might have been. I think a lot of the school was there. But that was one of my favorite memories. Obviously, seeing them for the first time was an unbelievable memory. But yeah, that concert had a lot of interesting memories to it. Number one, it was free. That's the only time I've ever seen Metallica, and it didn't cost me anything. Now it's pretty much your firstborn to see Metallica. I saw them the first time I saw them was $27. This time around, it times that by about 10.
So it's a little north of 27?
Just a bit. Yep, just a bit.
Oh, boy.
But they still put an outstanding show on. I think the word on the street is our boss, Jerry Valeri, is going to be at the show, is what the word on the street is. He'll be seeing Metallica. Might be for the first time. I don't know if he's ever seen them. It's in for a surprise.
What, are they going to play?
They are going to play. Going to Philadelphia on Memorial Day weekend, too. Nothing like hitting shore traffic on Memorial Day weekend.
So it's a Friday night?
It is a Friday the 23rd and then Sunday the 25th. Yeah, they do.
And you're going to both shows?
I'm just going to one. I'm just going to the Sunday show.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't do the two that close to one another anymore. Tried it a couple of years ago.
I remember.
Yeah, it's because again, obviously they're getting up there. They're in their 60s, and obviously can't do back-to-back shows, back-to-back nights. So it's basically being.
Are they going out there in scooters, walkers? What are they doing?
They might be going out there in scooters.
Come on,
but
this is the band you follow.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, they obviously. I think Philadelphia is basically being deemed Metallica takeover that way because the 23rd they're playing. Obviously, the Friday night they're playing in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Saturday is completely going to be Metallica events all day. They're just not playing live that day. Mm-hmm. And then Sunday, obviously the concert. But they rarely, if a matter of fact, they don't do it anymore. They don't do the back-to-back nights like they used to. I first saw them. They did a back-to-back night in Philadelphia in 1996. Don't do that anymore. Yeah. They were in their 30s at that time.
Okay, so
all right,
that was
sports now.
I thought that was really exciting and way more information than I expected.
That's right. Well, yeah, they've consumed a part of my life. Just a touch.
You know what's interesting is nobody could tell.
No, I couldn't tell.
Oh.
Couldn't tell.
What are we doing? Okay, so We'll start with a couple of notes for you. One is Sharon Moore, they're trying to get ahead of the NCAA. The Committee on Infractions will meet June 6th and 7th. For some odd reason, Michigan appears to be on the docket.
Shocking. I can't imagine why.
Well, they can't touch Jim Harbaugh.
Wow. Yeah, nope.
Okay, he pulled the Pete Carroll and he left.
You bet it. Exactly. 100% exact.
Okay, got out of town, got out of Dodge before a posse showed up. So this is about the Connor Stallion situation. So to get ahead of it, the University of Michigan will suspend current head coach Sharon Moore, who was a part of that staff, as we all know, back in the day when they won the national title, for 2 games. Well, the opening 2 games are against New Mexico and Oklahoma. Those aren't the 2 games that he's suspended for.
No, why would they?
Moore, of course, is alumnus of Oklahoma. The game is in Norman. He will coach those 2 games. It'll be games 3 and 4 that he'll be suspended for, which happens to be Central Michigan, ironically, and Nebraska. Why do I say Central Michigan ironically? I believe Stallion showed up on the sideline of the Central Michigan game. Yes.
He did.
Yes. So Central Michigan and Nebraska are the ones that they have selected. On top of it, the university president that has gone to bat for this group over and over and over again has fled town.
Yes, he has.
He has taken the job. Santa Ono, gone. He's taken the job as the president or chancellor or whatever it is that they call it at the University of Florida.
He did.
Now, Santa Ono is the one that went to the wall for Jim Harbaugh.
Yep.
Kind of bypassed Ward Manuel and all this. And he is now left and he's gone to the University of Florida. He was at the University of Michigan for 3 years. Okay. So we will see what happens on June 6th and 7th, the Committee on Infractions. The NFL Draft will be in Pittsburgh next year. The draft in Green Bay drew 600,000 fans to the 3-day event. The record, of course, is Detroit, which a year ago drew 750,000 fans. So next year it goes to Pittsburgh. In 2027, the draft is going to Washington. Now, this is a week after the Commanders agreed to go back to the city. They're going to level RFK Stadium, and they're going to build a new dome stadium. And they're going to leave Landover, and they're going to go back to their old spot. They're not going to hold the draft on the stadium construction site. No. They're going to hold the draft on the National Mall, right where the Washington Monument stands. Wow. So, Pittsburgh, I'm going to guess Point State Park.
I would think so. Yep.
And the Washington Monument.
Well, honestly,
Point State Park's going to be great.
Point State Park is going to be great.
I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think so too. It always
Just like
is.
The Franklin Art Museum is
Art,
where they did
sure.
the Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, yeah, which I loved. And I think, it's probably where the monument is probably your best bet in D.C., I think. Yeah, you put it on the construction site, you're going to have a lot of exactly, and you'd have restrictions.
Well, you already have infrastructure
exactly
there to begin with.
Exactly.
Because part of what they'll have to do under the new arrangement, Josh Harris and his group, I think they're paying like $2.7 billion out of their own pocket. What they're asking for is like $1.1 billion from the city, and a lot of that's for infrastructure. They're like, the city shouldn't be paying. Everybody
uses the roads. Yeah.
Okay, on a daily basis. Yep. Okay, it's not quite as they're just doing it for the stadium. It's going to help the stadium, the ingress, egress. Okay, there's a disaster, you can get people out. All right, but people use the roads on an everyday basis. So they're going to do it on the National Mall in 2027.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I think it should be fun. I think what you see now is how much the draft has really grown. And obviously the ESPN has stretched it as much as you could stretch it. Obviously going the first day, being one round, being one day, and etc. They might have gone a little extreme, but it's reached the point now fan-wise where it has taken off in a big way. And
I think they're going to reduce the time in the first round to 7 minutes now, too.
Yeah.
They're talking about doing that because I think Roger Goodell wants to see it move faster. Now, part of the speed with which they move is this. Okay? They do have to have, based on their presentation, they're going to get whatever jersey and the name put on the back of the jersey. So people don't realize when they're up there like, they're taking a long time in this. Putting the name on the back of the jersey, it doesn't take 30 seconds.
Right.
Okay? Usually takes about a minute and a half, 2 minutes to do.
At least
do that. So that's actually part of it. But he thinks they can get it done in 7 minutes per. And it's amazing the popularity of it. Millions of people watching at home. Millions. Hundreds of thousands watching on site. To watch people walk up on a stage and be selected. There is no action.
Nope.
The most movement happens at the beginning when Goodell walks out. That's as much movement as you get.
That's true.
Right? This time he came out on a bike. I mean, your sport is over the top when?
Yep.
You are doing nothing. And they're watching. There's no action. You're picking people. Oh, that's remarkable. I mean, that's remarkable. Now, the NHL draft lottery is going to be tonight. Does Secaucus, New Jersey have some sort of deal that allows TV networks to? I mean, that's where NBA is. That's where the NHL is.
MLB.
That's where MLB is.
Yep.
They're all in Secaucus.
WWOR, I think, used to be in Secaucus, too.
Yeah.
Might still be.
I mean, New Jersey doesn't give a tax break to anybody.
No.
It's like, oh, man. Now, the side story is this. Is this the night that we actually find out officially what Utah's name is?
It's true.
They've leaked the possibility it's the Mammoth. And they are a part of the lottery tonight, by the way. There are 4 balls numbered 1 to 14 with 1,001 possible 4-number combinations. One combination is designated as a redraw. If numbers 11, 12, 13, and 14 come up together, the NHL has to redraw. Okay? So the San Jose Sharks have 185 ping pong balls. Blackhawks have 135. Nashville has 115. Okay? And then it keeps dropping from there. And there's been some talk that tonight is the night we officially find out whether or not it is the Utah Mammoth. Doesn't mean they will. And after last night's Game 7, after watching back-to-back Game 7s, Dallas and Colorado, where Mikko Rantanen had an incredible third period.
Absolutely.
Hat trick, assist. They rally from 2-0 down to win 4-2. Dallas then plays Winnipeg. Winnipeg is, I mean, they are floating in a Manitoba River.
Yeah. Go double overtime.
Well, no, they're down 3-1 with 2 minutes to go.
Yep.
And they take Hellebuck out.
Yeah.
Then they score with like 90 seconds to go. Place going insane. And then score with 3 seconds to go. I mean, I watched the game, so it's like, I mean, I barely watched any of the Golden State Houston game. I
didn't see as much of a lot of it either.
Being like
it's repeat of history basically. Yeah, the Warriors have owned the Rockets in the playoffs. And they did it again.
So I'm watching. So I watched Dallas, Colorado. So I saw the comeback. I was like, wow. Then I watched Winnipeg and St. Louis. I went, whoa. So they get to overtime because they score with 3 seconds. The place goes insane. And yes, they still have the rights to the whiteout. So the place is going crazy. Connor Hellebuck, who was mediocre in the series, got pulled in 3 games, was mediocre in the first period, then settled down and gave up 1 goal to end the second. He gave up nothing in the third, nothing in either overtime, and they won. And Adam Lowry scored the game winner on a deflection. But that was, NHL overtime is the best. You know, college, NBA. Okay, it's 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
if you go to the NFL, I think what they
still takes time.
They passed the rule that everybody's going to get a possession.
I think so.
So everybody gets a possession. College football, both teams get possessions. Major League Baseball, each team gets an at-bat. Here, you score, it's over.
It's over. And you just never know when it's going to end.
Shot could be the shot. And that's why hockey overtime is the greatest, where you sit there like every single shot has meaning in the course of the game. And it's not like going to, and they're all different. I mean, it's not like going to a Metallica concert, which is the same show over and over again. I mean, don't you have it memorized by now?
No, not entirely. They throw the wild card out there occasionally. I have the end of this set list memorized by now, sure. They throw some wild cards in there. It's better when they don't have an album out. They have a new album out. They got to promote the new album and play 5 songs from that. They don't have an album out. They throw some wild cards, and it's more fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, the NHL, absolutely. It can end at any point, and that's what makes it so exciting. Every shot matters. Everything is crucial.
Kentucky Derby. 17.7 million viewers, the most watched Kentucky Derby since 1989. Okay. And Sovereignty won it, beat out Journalism.
Mm-hmm.
Great stretch run by Sovereignty to win. Journalism had gone as the heavy favorite, but there was a lot of money going on Sovereignty as the day went. And on the mud, I mean, to be honest with you, I thought both horses had good trips. I just don't think there's any issue at all I mean, with the trip. And if you're wondering why Mike Tirico did not broadcast, he has a nut allergy and he accidentally, whoops, got him. That's why everything was a little out of whack for him on Saturday, and he stepped aside. So, yeah. And now let's get to Yannick Niederhauser. So far, this has gone about the way I thought it would go. So if you recall when this started, I outlined for everybody, because I want to make sure that in doing this, you knew what the process was. This is not a common process for a Penn State basketball player, so I do not expect many Penn State basketball fans to know what the draft process is. It's something that they probably in passing hear about, or it may be in a story somewhere they read, but Penn State fans haven't. It's different when you're, as a fan, you're experiencing it. So I mentioned, hey, look, you have until April 26th to put your name in, which he did. You have until April 22nd to put your name in the transfer portal, which he did not. I said there'll be pre-draft workouts, which I pointed out that he'd gone down to Miami and had done pre-draft workouts, and there was one other one that he went to. I think he went to two of them. And then I pointed out to everybody, okay, now here are the two to watch for. Will he be in the NBA G League Elite Combine, or will he be in the overall Combine? I expected him to get into the G League Combine. That's what I expected. And guess where he ended up? He's in the G League Combine. Now, if you excel in the G League Combine, they can move you then to the higher draft pick, potential higher draft pick combine, which is the primary one. Okay? But you'll have to excel to do that. The G League Elite Combine, I just always referred to as the G League Combine. All right, I didn't use the word elite. Is going to start Friday and run through Sunday. And then we'll see if he gets moved up at all after that. The next critical date for him is anything before June 15th. June 15th is the last day you can pull your name out of the NBA draft. So I've tried to at least keep everybody abreast of what's going on with the process. And I've tried to keep everybody abreast of what has been going on as to the dates that you need to be aware of with him. Either way, the process is great for him. He is getting a lot of professional advice. And I don't mean professional advice from agents. I'm talking about professional advice from people who know the sport of basketball and can say, love this, love that, love this, love that. Okay, got to work on that, got to be better than that, got to tweak that. And that's where he is in all of this. So it'll start on Friday. The next step will be if he moves then to the larger combine, which is where the top prospects are, or whether that G League Elite Combine was the combine he was in, then he can do individual workouts with teams. Now, if you're wondering, and I know, because obviously based on your Metallica obsession, you only think about money.
Never.
Oh, God. Never. Okay? All right. So this is how much money does a G League player make? Just so you know. Okay? The standard salary for a player is $40,500. Right? In other words, it's $7,000 a month for a 5-month season. Players sign 1-year contracts with the league rather than the NBA franchise or one of its affiliates. Now, when you're on a two-way deal, Seth Lundy, Andrew Funk, they both had two-way deals. Okay? Two-way contracts can net you $578,000. Okay? And that two-way contract means that you have to pay fewer than 50 games for the NBA team. But you do have to play some games. You do have to be on the roster. I don't care whether you're sitting there or what you're doing. So, average salary for a G League player, $40,500, about $810 a game. Average minimum salary for a two-way contract is $578,576, which, by the way, is approximately $160,000 less than Paul Skeens makes with the Pirates. What?
His trading card, one-on-one trading card, went for more than his yearly salary by a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you're wondering what the numbers are, and you're at, okay, so what's the minimum salary in the NBA? The minimum salary in the NBA is $1,157,153. Okay. If you're asking how often do G League players make it to the NBA, at least 50 players have been called up to an NBA team in the last 9 years. A record 50% of the players on NBA rosters this past season had G League experience. Now, we didn't say they were playing, but but that is, if you're wondering, the salary for a G League player is $40,500. That's the average salary. Okay? Two-way contract, $578, $576. But like two-way contract, I mean, you got to be drafted. Right? It doesn't mean you can't eventually sign a two-way contract.
Right.
Because Andrew Funk
did, yeah.
went through the G League. I think he was playing in Grand Rapids.
Yep.
All right. And then he got to the Bulls and signed a two-way deal. And then he played some games in the NBA. But that's, again, part of what we're doing here is we're trying to make sure that you know what the process is. And we've got an opportunity to tell you what the process is, so we do. Okay? So that's where we are. And so that's where Yannick is right now. While you're gallivanting all over following an aging band, it's not like Mick Jagger's out there.
Oh, no, never. He's going to be out there till he's 100.
Yeah.
Keith Richards, I think, was around when the Almighty One said, "Let there be light." I think he flipped the switch.
Oh, you're just the worst.
Keith Richards has been around a while.
So
I'd take nothing away from them. The Rolling Stones are a great band. Absolutely great. Miss Charlie Watts dearly. They're a great band.
Oh, boy. Yeah. So. By the way, if you're wondering, Andrew went back to the Grand Rapids this year. So, hey, the guy can shoot.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but that's
all you need is an opportunity. Look, Jalen Pickett cracked into the starting lineup for the Nuggets at the end of the year.
Who's out there closing out the game in Game 7 against the Clippers?
Yeah.
I mean, Pickett was out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all you need is an opportunity. Tim Frazier made the most of plenty of opportunities.
I've said this once. I've said it 100 times. The guys I really have so much respect for are the guys that, and I told Trace McSorley this, They said, I admire these guys. They keep their careers alive,
Absolutely.
which is amazing. I mean, that you're able to do that, keep your career alive. But yeah, so that's the process. That's where we are. And Yannick is, and I saw the G League Elite list. It was a lot of familiar names on there, which means they didn't make the primary combine.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know, like, for example, on the NBA combine, I mean, you know darn well that like Cooper Flagg's a part of this, but I mean, he's not going to play.
No.
Let's see. I mean, they've got 75 players, by the way, in this thing. So the 75 players in the NBA Combine, they include a couple of guys from Australia and Greece. Ace Bailey from Rutgers. Janai Broom of Auburn. I'm just giving you some highlights here. Walter Clayton of Florida. Neek Clifford of Colorado State. Alex Condon of Florida. Eric Dixon of Villanova. Isaiah Evans of Duke. Jeremiah Fears of Oklahoma. He's a really good-looking player. Cooper Flagg of Duke. He's the tall kid that can pass, shoot, and rebound.
And score. Yep. Oh, yeah.
I just want to make sure, because I'm not sure what you know anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you're so consumed with this band that I think you've given up on sports. I worry about you. Boogie Flan from Arkansas.
That's a good player. Yep.
Rasheer Fleming from St. Joe's.
Yeah.
Vlad Golden from Michigan.
Yep.
Dylan Harper from Rutgers. Yakashonis from Illinois. Sion James from Duke. Ryan Kalkbrenner from Creighton. Con Knippel from Duke. Chaz Lanier from Tennessee. R.J. Lewis from St. John's. Let's see. Liam McNeely from UConn. Elijah Martin from Florida. Grant Nelson from Alabama. Otega Owe, Jason's brother, from Kentucky.
Nice.
Tashad Pettiford from Auburn. A lot of people really like him. Tyrese Proctor from Duke. Derek Queen from Maryland. Jace Richardson from Michigan State. Will Riley from Illinois. And again, like you're saying, does that mean they're going? No, it doesn't mean going. Right? But you expect Will Riley, I think, is going to be a first-round pick, so he's going to go. Derek Queen, I think, might be a first-round pick. I think he's going to go. Mark Sears from Alabama. Max Shulga from VCU. Ding, 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 ding. John Tanjay from Wisconsin. Milos Uzen from Houston. Jameer Watkins from Florida State. Bryce Williams from Nebraska. Danny Wolf from Michigan are among the 75 players that are invited to the NBA Combine. Okay? So that's the list. The 75 players invited to the NBA Draft Combine. It'll take place at Wintrust Arena, which is the home of DePaul. Okay? And that's where it'll take place. Now, the G League Elite Combine. Let's see. Draft and news. There are 106 early entry candidates for the draft. Yannick's one of them. And let's see, anything else here on that? Ties broken for order of selection. Nobody cares. Not even the teams care. Like, yeah, right. That's about it. 106 early entries. There are 58 spots. And that doesn't, in early entries, don't include the foreign players.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. So, yeah. So let's see, G League Elite Combine. I guess we'll call it camp. All right. Schedules and rosters starting May 9th. So 75 players. Okay. So they're going to play. Here's their schedule. Kind of limited in terms of schedules. But if you're wondering, 2-day event. So you got to show up for measurements on the 9th. Or excuse me, on the 10th. Right? And let's see. And Yannick is on team. Where is he here? Ding, 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 ding. I know he's on one of these teams. Where is he here? 1, 2, 3. Okay. How about that? Well, let's see. You got team 1 is Taron Armstrong, Boogie Ellis, Chaz Lanier, Xavier Leah. Let's see. We'll go Poplar from Miami. Let's see. Team 2, Dose. Alan Flanagan. Jameer Nelson Jr. Isaiah Stevens from Colorado State. You know what? He's a good player, by the way. Stevens.
Yep.
He's a really good player.
Right.
League camp rosters. Mark Armstrong from Villanova. Keon Brooks from Washington. Let's see. Caleb Love from Arizona is on team 4. So they've got Walter Clayton here, but Clayton, I think he's already been moved over. And then, he's not listed here. I know he's on the roster, though. Let me see something here. Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second here. Yeah, because you can go into these things and, all right. Let me see here. Get this right for everybody as to who's where. Oops, let's do that. Oops. That way, if you want to watch, because I think on NBA TV will have some of these.
Yeah.
44 prospects. Okay, here we go. Yeah, Malik Lewis is the headliner, I guess. Okay, so 44 players. Tamar Bates from Missouri, Brooks Barnheiser from Northwestern, Nathan Biddle from Oregon, Dylan Caldwell from Auburn, Janelle Davis from Arkansas, known to Metallica as Arkansas, R.J. Davis from North Carolina, Dawson Garcia from Minnesota, Keyshawn Gilbert, Iowa State, Chucky Hepburn, Louisville by way of Wisconsin, Chase Hunter of Clemson, Kobe Johnson from UCLA, Curtis Jones, Iowa State, Miles Kelly from Auburn by way of Georgia Tech, Victor Lakin from Clemson. Malik Lewis, though, when I mentioned he's a headliner, well, he's from southeast Melbourne in Australia. Talc ever play there?
Yeah. They've played all 7 continents. That includes Antarctica.
Where'd they play that?
I don't remember where they played it. I just remember they played at 2 shows there just to basically say they did.
Sold out Penguins.
Exactly.
Sean Padula, Ole Miss by way of Virginia Tech. Yannick is ranked 31 on here. So I think these are ranked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be.
These are, the list of invitees are ranked. So 31, that would put him at 106.
Yep.
Okay.
Around there. Yep.
Doesn't mean you can't move. Amari
Right.
Williams, Wade Taylor. Wade Taylor's always been an interesting player to me because I watched obviously a lot of video on him, and I did 2 games, and I wasn't really enamored with either one.
No.
Like, okay. So yeah, there's 44 prospects in here. He's one of the 44. Wisconsin basketball standout notably omitted from NBA G League. What, John Blackwell? No. John Blackwell should be in this thing. John Blackwell's a good player. Now, is he a pro yet? No. But
Yeah, he actually wasn't invited, I think. I want to say it was Blackwell.
no, Blackwell was not invited.
I don't think so.
He was
No, I
not.
think you're right. I think that's who that is.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, currently not projected to be drafted, not invited to the combine.
right. So, I don't think they have Yannick projected to be drafted, do they? I don't think so.
I don't think so, no.
So, they'll divide it up into 4 11-person teams, and then they'll go from there. All right. So, it starts out the 9th. And let me see here. Yeah. They'll play 2 games on Saturday, I think 2 games Saturday, 2 games Sunday, something like that. Then go from there. And so the G League Elite Camp takes place Friday to Sunday. The lottery will take place on Monday the 12th. Nothing more exciting than sitting there waiting for a ping pong ball. Doesn't have the same juice. By the way, who has the best odds? The New Orleans Pelicans have 12.5%.
Yeah.
The Sixers at 10.5%. The Nets at 9%. The Raptors at 7.5%. Spurs at 6%. Rockets 3.8% because they picked up that pick from Phoenix. Portland 3.7%. Dallas 1.8%. The Bulls 1.7%. Sacramento Kings 0.8%. Spurs have a second pick. It's 0.7%. And the NBA draft will take place in Brooklyn. Nothing screams welcome to the NBA like Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm. And the Sixers obviously, top 6 protected, I think it is, with the trade they made with Oklahoma City. So if they're not picked in the top 6, they lose that pick. That goes back to one of the many foolish trades they made many years ago. I want to say that was...
You want to talk about an organization.
Yeah, that was the one. What, they traded, Horford for Danny Green, I think it was?
Yeah.
And first, yeah. Yep.
I mean, you want to talk about an organization that really gives one the impression that they have absolutely no idea what they're doing.
No, you're right.
And it's not like they don't luck out with certain things. Like Tyrese Maxey has turned out to be a terrific
Maxey's been
player.
incredible.
Been a terrific player.
Even look at the trades they made. Quentin Grimes was basically thrown to them for nothing. He played incredible down the stretch last year.
And
yeah, they've had role players that turned into good players too for a while. Unfortunately, they turned one of those role players into a max contract guy, and he didn't pan out, and now he's in Detroit. But
it's
in Harris, but. There's a lot of.
Harris played well for Detroit.
They did, yeah. And there's a lot of. You even go back to like guys like Robert Covington, who aren't superstars by any means. They're two-way players who are going to help your team.
Well,
they don't utilize. You trade Seth Curry, who was a fan favorite. Obviously, you get James Harden. You trade away Ben Simmons. That's your plus. The downside of it.
You drafted Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
You drafted him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And dealt him 10 minutes later for a player that's not did nothing. The kid from Texas Tech.
Yeah.
I remember when they drafted him, I thought, well, that's a really good pick. That's a really savvy pick. He'll help any team that he plays for. I thought, wow, okay, I was impressed. That's a great pick by the Sixers. 10 minutes later, they traded him. I go, oh, my goodness. I said, they're run by idiots.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you let Jalen Brunson get out of town? Plays for Villanova. What, you
didn't draft him. No.
Didn't draft him.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah. Well, I can't even. Oh, for Bridges, they got what? Zaire Smith in that trade?
Zaire Smith is who they got from Texas Tech. Like, I'm watching him.
You even go back to that's a franchise that has just been.
I mean, they took Okafor for Duke, who doesn't play.
Doesn't play. No. Took Carter Williams, who phased out immediately. And these guys that.
They had the first overall pick of the draft. This is the big one.
Yeah.
Okay. The Celtics had the first pick of the draft.
Yeah.
The first pick.
And they had no intention of taking the guy the Sixers took.
Danny Ainge sat there and looked at the board and made a trade with Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They took Markelle Fultz, and the entire
who could not shoot in college.
Okay. I didn't like Markelle Fultz.
I didn't either.
At Washington.
I didn't either.
All. Jason Tatum, I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah. Because Penn State played Duke.
Tatum was obviously
Penn
better.
State played Duke that year.
Clear as day.
You're like going, okay.
Yeah.
Right?
And the Celtics weren't taking Fultz.
Right.
That was a fleece if I ever saw one.
Right. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This
is terrible.
Running your scouting.
It's terrible. It's just.
Sometimes I swear on the scouting part of it and also the game part of it. There are things that happen in college which I swear the pros have no idea what's going on.
Right.
Right. And go back to your guy Shanahan. Right. Like, if everybody has the ball in overtime, what do you start on?
Mm-hmm.
Defense.
Yep.
Right? Because that's in the college games already told you to do that.
Sure.
Didn't pay attention to it. Markelle Fultz, I'm watching him. I deliberately stayed up a couple times late to watch Washington plays. I at least wanted to see the guy. I'm like going, okay, he's not going to be a good NBA player.
No, clearly.
Right? Just watch it.
Yeah.
Tatum, I watched and went, he's going to be, I don't know how good he's going to be, but he's going to be good. Yeah.
And he adjusted immediately, too. Immediately.
Right.
When you dunk on LeBron James as a rookie, that's pretty good.
Right. Yeah. Now, I'll admit I wasn't sure about Jaylen Brown when they drafted him.
No, I wasn't either.
Brown.
I actually thought Brown was going to be a bust. I honestly thought.
I looked at Jaylen Brown and went, okay, well, let's see how he is. And his team has gone. Jaylen Brown has
been amazing.
Been an outstanding player.
Absolutely.
But the Sixers, you look at that town, Howie Roseman has done, he doesn't hit on everything.
Incredible. He hits on a lot.
But he's done an incredible job. Okay? You look at what Dave Dombrowski's done with the Phillies. Phenomenal job. And then you've got this group. Is it the building?
That could be, because the Flyers are the same.
Right. Between the Flyers and the Sixers, they do nothing.
No. And
the Sixers keep trying to do the big three thing. And when they drafted Ben Simmons, all year he was labeled as the first overall pick in the draft, all year. So I thought, all right, LSU's on TV.
Mm-hmm.
I never had seen him play. He's from Australia.
Right.
I was like, all right, well, I should watch him play. And I'm watching the LSU. I saw 3 LSU games.
Yeah.
I'm like,
he never improved.
No, I sat there. I'm watching TV. I'm like going, no, I don't get it.
I didn't either.
I'm talking about this is when he was in college. I'm not even after he got drafted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying I'm watching him in college where everybody's telling me he's the number 1 overall pick, and I'm like, I'm watching it, thinking to myself, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like Cooper Flag, I get it.
Yeah, I get it clearly. Yeah.
Right?
Even Zion. Zion's not panned out, but I understand why they went number 1. I understood why. Yeah, absolutely.
I would have picked him first.
Same.
No question. When New Orleans had the first pick, there's no doubt it would have
understood it.
First.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But they talked about Simmons' length. Pascal Siakam had incredible length too. He helped lead a team to a championship. There, Kawhi Leonard, obviously, but that's a guy that's had a career in the NBA that can shoot, that can hit free throws.
Kawhi Leonard was not the first overall pick in the draft.
No,
right?
Nope.
Neither was Paul Pierce.
There was Paul Pierce.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Right? They're both, by the way, were older players.
Yeah. Fitz Carter, same thing. Antoine Jameson, same thing.
I don't know. Sometimes, too often I see the NBA draft on potential, and last year's draft did nothing. Like, it's not as if the two guys at the top aren't decent players. They are.
Yeah.
But nobody knows who they are.
No, nobody even knows who the Rookie of the Year was. Okay. And it just got announced 2 days ago.
Who was it?
Castle.
Oh, Stephon Castle.
Yeah, Stephon Castle. Yeah, who was
with San Antonio.
Yeah, who had a great year.
Yeah. Again, a known entity.
Yeah. Yep.
A known entity.
Yep.
See, the NBA draft, the
Too
NFL
much on
draft
potential. I agree.
Helps the NFL because you know who Cam Ward is.
Right.
You know who Abdul Carter is. You know who Travis Hunter is. They've already established themselves with careers in college and already have a TV following.
Yes.
Okay? Hey, Mason Graham goes to Cleveland, 5th overall. Okay, people know who Will Campbell of LSU is. Okay, you know. Everybody knows who Tyler Warren is.
Right.
Right? Indianapolis steals him at 14. Great, but they already know who he is. You go to the NBA draft, Richeche from France, you're like going...
And that was
I don't know.
That was the issue you had when you didn't have the age limit, too, because there were so many players taken out of high school.
You didn't know who they
were.
didn't know,
exactly. You had no idea who they were.
Jermaine O'Neal. My God, Jermaine O'Neal.
Yeah.
High school, he went to...
And it started with, people say it started with Garnett. To an extent, it did. Moses Malone didn't play in college either. But you look at where it really started, I think, more extensively with Darius Miles going number 3 overall.
Right.
Because they wouldn't always pick that high. And when it did, suddenly it ballooned out of control.
And here's the problem that you have with the 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
Okay? Jermaine O'Neal's a perfect example of this. Portland takes him.
Yeah.
He has a 4-year contract, I think. Then he goes free agent. And then, boom, things take off for him. He's not a Hall of Fame.
When he goes to Indiana,
He goes to Indiana, things take off for him. Well, exactly when did things take off for him?
Yeah.
After what would have been his senior year in college.
Yeah. You could say the same about Tracy McGrady.
And what they said about at Portland was like, we're the ones that, like, we drafted him and we trained him.
Yeah.
Right? And we did all this work with him, and now somebody else is getting the benefit of it. That's what the Portland people were saying. Same thing with Tracy McGrady.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was a good player in Toronto, but he wasn't at Vince Carter level at that point.
No.
He goes to Orlando, and Grant Hill gets hurt. He's a superstar.
Right. He's playing great. Certain guys like obviously LeBron.
Sure. LeBron, I think, was...
I can't put Kobe in that category because it took...
Took Kobe some time,
Kobe 2 years.
2 years.
Wasn't his third year. His third year, which would have been his junior year in college.
Learn from his mistakes, I think, was where... Kobe learned from his mistakes.
No doubt.
I think there's no doubt.
But people assume that he came out of high school out of Lower Merion and he was awesome right away.
No. He won the dunk contest. People remember that.
Kevin Garnett was really good.
Garnett was good,
right out of the gate. LeBron was really good.
But even Garnett was, he learned a lot from Kevin McHale. And then the post game, absolutely.
Sure he did. But the one and done deal, Cooper Flagg's going to be a good player.
Yeah, I agree.
There's no getting around it. Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey will probably go 2 and 3.
I think so.
And Harper is a very much hot and cold player.
I agree.
And I've seen him, broadcast 2 of his games. I've seen him get hot and I've seen him be cold.
Yep.
Ace Bailey, I've seen him cold, and I've seen him, everybody in the Jordan Center, he was scorching hot that night at 37. It was incredible. But
it feels like when you draw up on a piece of paper, draw the tools of an NBA player, that the stuff you can't measure.
Bailey's
got. Yeah, absolutely.
Because Bailey has height, length, and guard skills.
Right. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dylan Harper is probably a little bit better athlete than his dad.
Yeah, right? I would agree. But the intangibles, his dad. His
dad, to me, was an exponentially tougher player than his
better
son.
Defender, without a doubt.
Right? But tougher.
Yeah, tougher. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Than Dylan. And again, Dylan played started out well against Penn State at Rutgers, and then kind of like flatlined the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Here at the Jordan Center, he did nothing all night.
Nope.
Like nothing all night. But so I've seen him get hot like he did at the beginning of the game at Rutgers.
Yep.
I'm like, man. Like, he had some great range, the whole thing. You could see the NBA level skills. And then, like, the last 28 minutes of the game, I wasn't sure he was in the game. Right? Bailey really kind of was up and down, struggled all night at Rutgers. They still, because they got out to a lead early, they were holding on at the end of Penn State. They finally won. Here, Penn State beat them. Harper didn't play well at all. Bailey was off the charts. Off the charts.
Yep.
Bailey, now he made a stupid play. We had the dunk, and I can't remember who he was standing over. Maybe Puff Johnson. I'm trying to remember. Right, and he's looking down at it. It wasn't Puff.
I remember the play, and I just can't remember the player.
It wasn't Puff because Puff was hurt.
Puff was hurt at that time, yeah.
Puff was out. And he's looking down, and he taunts him, like going, what are you doing?
Yep. Try that in the NBA.
Oh.
Try that in the NBA.
Try that with Draymond Green.
Try that, exactly. Try that
Let's see how that goes. Because you know what? Draymond Green doesn't care if he gets fined or suspended.
No, he's shown that. Yep.
Try that. Yeah. I know that people are disappointed with how the Penn State basketball season turned out. I understand that.
Sure.
Because to go 12-2 and then you win 3 of your last 5, and in the middle you're like, ugh, it was hard, right? Just so many close losses left and right.
Sure.
But imagine being a Rutgers basketball fan. You had the second and third overall picks in the entire NBA draft.
Didn't even.
That's the
season you put. Yeah, exactly. I agree.
That is without question the single most underachieving team.
Yeah. Agreed.
In Power 4 basketball, Power 5 basketball.
Absolutely agree.
Season.
Yep.
Single most underachieving team. You're like going, how do you have those two guys? Again, it's a 5-man game.
Yeah.
40% of your starting lineup is going to be announced in minutes.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's like, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. We had a great year. No, you didn't.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
Right. How do you have that much talent?
Yeah.
And
not succeed? I agree.
That much talent in two guys.
I agree.
40% of your starting lineup, and they aren't the same kind of player.
No. Nope.
Oh, well. Oh, well. We've run over. That's because the first 15 minutes was...
That's true.
all about... So to all of the fans of every other band in America, I apologize. There's more than just one band.
That's right.
$600 tickets. Golly. Where do you come up with that money? There are airline tickets that are cheap.
There are.